Hello, family. God bless everyone. I pray everyone is doing well. It's really exciting to read these scriptures, knowing that we, our family, was chosen by the Creator to be His inheritance upon this earth. And the strength and the power that we possess when we are with the Most High, when we are with the Creator of the earth and heaven and everything on it and in it. And when we take the time to try to think about that, what that really means for us, when we're obeying His commandments, His laws, and His statutes, we're such a powerful people, such a more happy people, such a more together people, because we are with the Most High and He is with us also. We had finished off in the book of Jasher, chapter 54. When I read through this book, I love reading about it, of the things of our family, what we going through or went through, and how we, finished or came out of the situations, which is beautiful, and how the Lord looks out for us when we are following His word. So I'll pick up here in the book of Jasher in chapter 54. Verse 1. When Judah saw the dealings of Joseph with them, Judah approached him and broke open the door and came with his brothers before Joseph. And Judah said to Joseph, "Let us not seem bothersome in the sight of my Lord. May your servant, I pray you, speak a word before you." And Joseph said to him, "Speak." Judah spoke before Joseph, and his brothers were there standing before them. Judah said to Joseph, "Certainly," this is verse 3, Judah spoke before Joseph, and his brothers were standing before them. Judah said to Joseph, "Certainly we first came to our Lord to buy food. You did consider us as spies of the land, and we brought Benjamin before you, and you still made sport of us this day." 4. Now therefore let the king hear my words, and send, I pray you, our brother, that he may go along with us to our father, that your son not perish this day with all the souls of the inhabitants of Egypt. 5. Do you not know what two of my brothers, Simeon and Levi, did to the city of Shechem and to 7 cities of the Amorites on account of our sister Dinah, and also what they would do for the sake of their brother Benjamin? 6. I, with my strength, who am greater and mightier than both of them, come this day on you and your land, if you are unwilling to send our brother. 7. Have you not heard what our Elohim, who made choice of us, did to Pharaoh on account of Sarah, our mother, whom he took away from our father? And he struck him and his household with heavy plagues. Even to this day, the Egyptians relate this wonder to each other. So will our Elohim do to you on account of Benjamin, whom you have this day taken from his father, and on account of the evils which you this day heap over us in your land? For our Elohim will remember his covenant with our father Abraham, and bring evil on you, because you have grieved the soul of our father this day. 8. Now hear my words that I have this day spoken to you, and send our brother, that he may go away, that you and the people of your land not die by the sword, for you cannot all prevail over me. 9. Joseph answered Judah, saying, Why have you opened wide your mouth, and why do you boast over us, saying, Strength is with you? As Pharaoh lives, if I command all my valiant men to fight with you, certainly you and these, your brothers, would sink into the mud. 10. Judah said to Joseph, Certainly it becomes you and your people to fear me. As the Lord lives, if I once draw my sword, I shall not sheathe it again until I shall this day have slain all Egypt. And I will begin with you and finish with Pharaoh your master. 11. And Joseph answered and said to him, Certainly strength belongs not alone to you. I am stronger and mightier than you. Certainly if you draw your sword, I will put it to your neck and the necks of all your brothers. 12. Judah said to him, Certainly, if this day opened my mouth against you, I would swallow you up, that you be destroyed from off the earth and perish this day from your kingdom. And Joseph said, Certainly, if you open your mouth, I have power and might to close your mouth with a stone until you shall not be able to utter a word. See how many stones are before us? Truly, I can take a stone and force it into your mouth and break your jaw. 13. And Judah said, The Most High is witness between us, that we have not hereto desired to battle with you. Only give us our brother, and we will go from you. Joseph answered and said, As Pharaoh lives, if all the kings of Canaan came together with you, you should not take him from my hand. Now therefore, go your way, 14. Now therefore, go your way to your father, and your brother shall be to me a slave, for he has robbed the king's house. And Judah said, What is it to you or to the character of the king? Certainly the king sends forth from his house throughout the land silver and gold, either in gifts or expenses. And you still talk about your cup, which you did place in our brother's bag, and say that he has stolen it from you? 15. Elohim forbid that our brother Benjamin or any of the offspring of Abraham should do this thing to steal from you or from anyone else, whether king, prince, or any man. 16. Now therefore cease this accusation, that the whole earth not hear your words, saying, For a little silver the king of Egypt argued with the men, and he accused them and took their brother for a slave. 17. And Joseph answered and said, Take this cup and go from me, and leave your brother for a slave, for it is the judgment of a thief to be a slave. 18. And Judah said, Why are you not ashamed of your words, to leave your brother and to take your cup? Certainly if you give us your cup, or 1,000 times as much, we will not leave our brother, for the silver which is found in the hand of any man, that we will not die over him. 19. Joseph answered, And why did you turn away from your brother and sell him for 20 pieces of silver to this day? Why then will you not do the same to this your brother? 20. And Judah said, The Lord is witness between me and you, that we desire not your battles, now therefore, give us our brother, and we will go from you without quarreling. 21. And Joseph answered and said, If all of the kings of the land should assemble, they will not be able to take your brother from my hand. Judah said, what shall we say to our father when he sees that our brother comes not with us, and will grieve over him? 22. Joseph answered and said, this is the thing which you shall tell to your father, saying, the rope has gone after the bucket. 23. Judah said, certainly you are a king, and why speak you these things, giving a false judgment? Woe to the king who is like you. 24. Joseph answered and said, there is no false judgment in the word that I spoke on account of your brother Joseph. For all of you sold him to the Midianites for 20 pieces of silver. And you all denied it to your father and said to him, an evil beast has devoured him. Joseph has been torn to pieces. 25. And Judah said, before the fire of Shem burns in my heart, now I will burn all your land with fire. Joseph answered and said, certainly your sister-in-law Tamar, who killed your sons, extinguished the fire of Shechem. 26. Judah said, if I pluck out a single hair from my flesh, I will fill all Egypt with its blood. 27. Joseph answered and said, such is your custom to do as you did to your brother, whom you sold, and you dipped his coat in blood and brought it to your father in order that he might say an evil beast devoured him, and here is his blood. 28. When Judah heard this thing, he was greatly enraged, and his anger burned within him. And there was before him in that place a stone, the weight of which was about 400 shekels. Judah's anger was set ablaze, and he took the stone in one hand and cast it to the heavens, and caught it with his left hand. 29. He placed it afterward under his leg, and he sat on it with all his strength, and the stone was turned into dust from the force of Judah. 30. Joseph saw the act of Judah, and he was very much afraid, but he commanded Manasseh, his son, and he also did with another stone like to the act of Judah. And Judah said to his brothers, let not any of you say this man is an Egyptian, but by his doing this thing, he is of our father's family. And Joseph said, not to you only is strength given, for we are also powerful men. And why will you boast over us all? Judah said to Joseph, send, I pray you, our brother, and ruin not your country this day. 32. And Joseph answered and said to them, go and tell your father an evil beast has devoured him, as you said concerning your brother Joseph. 33. Judah spoke to his brother Naphtali and said to him, hurry, go now and number all the streets of Egypt, and come and tell me. Simeon said to him, let not this thing be a trouble to you. Now I will go to the mount and take up one large stone from the mount and level it at everyone in Egypt and kill all that are in it. Joseph heard all these words that his brothers spoke before him, and they did not know that Joseph understood them, for they imagined that he knew not to speak Hebrew. 35. Joseph was greatly afraid at the words of his brothers that they should destroy Egypt. And he commanded his son Manasseh, saying, go now, hurry and gather to me all the inhabitants of Egypt, and all the valiant men together, and let them come to me now on horseback and on foot, and with all sorts of musical instruments, And Manasseh went and did so. 36. Naphtali went as Judah had commanded him, for Naphtali was light-footed as one of the swift stages, or swift stags, and he could walk on the ears of corn, and they would not break under him. Man, that's so sweet, ain't it? 37. He went and numbered all the streets of Egypt and found them to be 12. And he came quickly and told Judah. And Judah said to his brothers, hurry and put on every man his sword on his loins, and we will come over Egypt and strike them all, and let not a remnant remain. 38. Judah said, behold, I will destroy 3 of the streets with my strength, and you shall each destroy 1 street. When Judah was speaking this thing, then the inhabitants of Egypt and all the mighty men came toward them with all sorts of musical instruments and with loud shouting. 39. And their numbers was 500 cavalry and 10,000 infantry and 400 men who could fight without sword or spear, only with their hands and strength. 40. And all the mighty men came with one great storming and shouting, and they all surrounded the sons of Jacob and terrified them. And the ground quaked at the sound of their shouting. 41. When the sons of Jacob saw these troops, they were greatly afraid of their lives. And Joseph did so in order to terrify the sons of Jacob to become tranquilized. 42. Judah, seeing some of his brothers terrified, said to them, why are you afraid while the grace of the Most High is with us? Judah saw all the people of Egypt surrounding them at the command of Joseph to terrify them. Only Joseph commanded them, saying, do not touch any of them. 43. Then Judah hurried and drew his sword and uttered a loud and bitter scream. And he struck with his sword, and he stomped on the ground, and he still continued to shout against all the people. 44. When he did this thing, the Lord caused the terror of Judah and his brothers to fall on the valiant men and all the people that surrounded them. 45. They all fled at the sound of the shouting, and they were terrified and fell one on the other. And many of them died as they fell, and they all fled from before Judah and his brothers and from before Joseph. 46. While they were fleeing, Judah and his brothers pursued them to the house of Pharaoh, and they all escaped. Judah again sat before Joseph and roared at him like a lion, and gave a great and tremendous shriek at him. 47. The shriek was heard at a distance, and all the inhabitants of Succoth heard it, and all Egypt quaked at the sound of the shriek. Also the walls of Egypt and of the land of Goshen fell in from the shaking of the earth. And Pharaoh also fell from his throne on the ground. Also, all the pregnant women of Egypt and Goshen miscarried when they heard the noise of the shaking, for they were terribly afraid. 48. And Pharaoh sent word, saying, what is this thing that has this day happened in the land of Egypt? They came and told him all the things from beginning to end. And Pharaoh was alarmed, and he wondered and was greatly afraid. 49. His fright increased when he heard all these things, and he sent to Joseph, saying, you have brought to me the Hebrews to destroy all Egypt. What will you do with the thievish slave? Send him away and let him go with his brothers, and let us not perish through their evil. Even we, you and all Egypt. 50. And if you desire not to do this thing, cast off from you all my valuable things, and go with them to their land if you delightest in it. For they will this day destroy my whole country and kill all my people. Even all the women of Egypt have miscarried through their scream. See what they have done merely by their shouting and speaking. And if they fight with the sword, they will destroy the land. Now therefore, choose that which you desire, whether me or the Hebrews, whether Egypt or the land of the Hebrews. 51. They came and told Joseph all the words of Pharaoh that he had said concerning him. And Joseph was greatly afraid at the words of Pharaoh, and Judah and his brothers were still standing before Joseph, indignant and enraged. And all the sons of Jacob roared at Joseph, like the roaring of the sea and its waves. 52. Joseph was greatly afraid of his brothers and on account of Pharaoh. And Joseph sought a way to make himself known to his brothers that they should not destroy all Egypt. 53. Joseph commanded his son Manasseh, and Manasseh went and approached Judah and placed his hand on his shoulder, and the anger of Judah was stilled. 54. And Judah said to his brothers, let no one of you say that this is the act of an Egyptian youth, for this is the work of my father's house. 55. Joseph seeing and knowing that Judah's anger was stilled, he approached to speak to Judah in the language of mildness. 56. And Joseph said to Judah, certainly you speak truth and have this day verified your assertions concerning your strength. And may your Elohim, who delights in you, increase your welfare. But tell me truly, why from among all your brothers do you argue with me on account of the lad, as none of them have spoken one word to me concerning him? 57. And Judah answered Joseph, saying, certainly you must know that I was security for the lad to his father, saying, if I brought him not to him, I should bear his blame forever. 58. So I have approached you from among all my brothers, for I saw that you were unwilling to allow him to go from you. Now therefore may I find grace in your sight that you shall send him to go with us, and then I will remain as a substitute for him, to serve you in whatever you desire. For wherever you shall send me, I will go to serve you with great energy. 59. Send me now to a mighty king who has rebelled against you, and you shall know what I will do to him and to his land. Although he may have cavalry and infantry, or an exceeding mighty people, I will kill them all and bring the king's head before you. 60. Do you not know, or have you not heard that our father Abraham, with his servant Eliezer, struck all the kings of Elam with their hosts in one night? They left not one remaining, and ever since that day our father's strength was given to us for an inheritance, for us and our descendants forever. 61. Joseph answered and said, you speak truth, and falsehood is not in your mouth. For it was also told to us that the Hebrews have power, and that the Lord, their Most High, delights much in them. And who then can stand before them? No. 62. However, on this condition will I send your brother, if you will bring before me his brother, the son of his mother, of whom you said that he had gone from you down to Egypt. It shall come to pass when you bring to me his brother, I will take him in his stead, because not one of you was security for him to your father. When he shall come to me, I will then send with you his brother for whom you have been security. 63. And Judah's anger was set ablaze against Joseph when he spoke this thing, and his eyes dropped blood with anger. And he said to his brothers, how does this man this day seek his own destruction and that of all Egypt? 64. And Simeon answered Joseph, saying, did we not tell you at first that we knew not the particular spot to which he went, and whether he be dead or alive? And why does my Lord speak these things? 65. Joseph, observing the countenance of Judah, discerned that his anger began to kindle when he spoke to him, saying, bring to me your other brother instead of this brother. 66. And Joseph said to his brothers, certainly you said that your brother was either dead or lost. Now, if I should call him this day, and he should come before you, would you give him to me instead of his brother? 67. And Joseph began to speak and call out, Joseph, Joseph, come this day before me, and appear to your brothers, and sit before them. 68. When Joseph spoke this thing before them, they looked each a different way to see from where Joseph would come before them. 69. And Joseph observed all their acts and said to them, why do you look here and there? I am Joseph, whom you sold to Egypt. Now therefore let it not grieve you that you sold me, for as a support during the famine did the Most High send me from you. 70. And his brothers were terrified at him when they heard the words of Joseph, and Judah was greatly terrified at him. 71. When Benjamin heard the words of Joseph, he was before them in the inner part of the house. And Benjamin ran to Joseph, his brother, and embraced him and fell on his neck, and they wept. 72. When Joseph's brother saw that Benjamin had fallen on his brother's neck and wept with him, they also fell on Joseph and embraced him. And they wept a great weeping with Joseph. 73. And the voice was heard in the house of Joseph that they were Joseph's brothers. And it pleased Pharaoh greatly, for he was afraid of them that they should destroy Egypt. 74. Pharaoh sent his servants to Joseph to congratulate him concerning his brothers who had come to him, and all the captains of the armies and troops that were in Egypt came to rejoice with Joseph, and all Egypt rejoiced greatly about Joseph's brother. 75. And Pharaoh sent his servants to Joseph, saying, tell your brothers to fetch all belongings to them, and let them come to me, and I will place them in the best part of the land of Egypt. And they did so. 76. Joseph commanded him that was set over his house to bring out to his brothers gifts and garments. And he brought out to them many garments, being robes of royalty and many gifts. And Joseph divided them among his brothers. 77. And he gave to each of his brothers a change of garments of gold and silver, and 300 pieces of silver. And Joseph commanded them all to be dressed in these garments and to be brought before Pharaoh. 78. And Pharaoh, seeing that all Joseph's brothers were valiant men and of beautiful appearance, greatly rejoiced. 79. And afterward they went out from the presence of Pharaoh to go to the land of Canaan, to their father. and their brother Benjamin was with them. 80. Joseph rose up and gave to them 11 chariots from Pharaoh. And Joseph gave to them his chariot on which he rode on the day of his being crowned in Egypt, to fetch his father to Egypt. Joseph sent to all his brothers' children garments according to their numbers, and 100 pieces of silver to each of them. And he also sent garments to the wives of his brothers from the garments of the king's wives, and he sent them. 81. He gave to each of his brothers 10 men to go with them to the land of Canaan, to serve them, to serve their children, and all belonging to them in coming to Egypt. 82. Joseph sent by the hand of his brother Benjamin 10 suits of garments for his 10 sons, a portion above the rest of the children of the sons of Jacob. 83. And he sent to each 50 pieces of silver and 10 chariots on the account of Pharaoh. He sent to his father 10 asses laden with all the luxuries of Egypt, and 10 female asses laden with corn and bread and nourishment for his father, and to all that were with him as provisions for the road. 84. And he sent to his sister Dinah garments of silver and gold, and frankincense and myrrh, and aloes, and women's ornaments in great plenty. He sent the same from the wives of Pharaoh to the wives of Benjamin. 85. He gave to all his brothers, also to their wives, all sorts of onyx stones and bdellium, and from all the valuable things among the great people of Egypt. Nothing of all the costly things was left but what Joseph sent to his father's household. 86. He sent his brothers away, and they went, and he sent his brother Benjamin with them. 87. And Joseph went out with them to accompany them on the road to the borders of Egypt. And he commanded them concerning his father and his household to come to Egypt. 88. And he said to them, do not quarrel on the road, for this thing was from the Lord, to keep a great people from starvation. For there will be yet 5 years of famine in the land. 89. And he commanded them, saying, when you come to the land of Canaan, do not come suddenly before my father about this affair, but act in your wisdom. 90. And Joseph ceased to command them, and he turned and went back to Egypt. And the sons of Jacob went to the land of Canaan with joy and cheerfulness to their father Jacob. 91. They came to the borders of the land, and they said to each other, what shall we do in this matter before our father? For if we come suddenly to him and tell him the matter, he will be greatly alarmed at our words and will not believe us. 92. They went along until they came near to their houses, and they found and they found Sirach, the daughter of Asher, going forth to meet them. The damsel was very good and subtle, and knew how to play on the harp. 93. They called to her, and she came before them and kissed them. And they took her and gave her a harp, saying, go now before our father, and sit before him. Strike on the harp and speak these words. 94. And they commanded her to go to their house. And she took the harp and hurried before them. And she came and sat near Jacob. 95. She played well and sang, and uttered in the sweetness of her words, Joseph, my uncle, is living, and he rules throughout the land of Egypt, and is not dead. 96. She continued to repeat and utter these words, And Jacob heard her words, and they were agreeable to him. 97. He listened while she repeated them twice and 3 times, and joy entered the heart of Jacob at the sweetness of her words, and the spirit of the Elohim was on him, and he knew all her words to be true. 98. Jacob blessed Sirach when she spoke these words before him, and he said to her, "My daughter, may death never prevail over you, for you have revived my spirit. Only speak again before me as you have spoken, for you have uplifted me with all your words." 99. And she continued to sing these words, and Jacob listened, and it pleased him, and he rejoiced, and the Spirit of the Most High was on him. 100. While he was yet speaking with her, he saw his sons come to him with horses and chariots and royal garments and servants running before them. 101. Jacob rose up to meet them and saw his sons dressed in royal garments, and he saw all the treasures that Joseph had sent to them. 102. They said to him, "Be informed that our brother Joseph is living, and it is he who rules throughout the land of Egypt, and it is he who spoke to us as we told you." 103. Jacob heard all the words of his sons, and his heart palpitated at their words, for he could not believe them until he saw all that Joseph had given them and what he had sent him, and all the signs which Joseph had spoken to them. 104. They opened all before him and showed him all that Joseph had sent. They gave to each what Joseph had sent him, and he knew that they had spoken the truth. And he rejoiced greatly an account of his son. 105. Excuse me, family. Dry throat. Jacob said, "It is enough for me that my son Joseph is still living. I will go and see him before I die." 106. And his sons told him all that had happened to them. And Jacob said, "I will go down to Egypt to see my son and his children." 107. Jacob rose up and put on the garments which Joseph had sent him. And after he had washed and shaved his hair, he put on his head the turban which Joseph had sent him. 108. All the people of Jacob's house and their wives put on the garments which Joseph had sent to them. And they greatly rejoiced at Joseph, that he was still living and that he was ruling in Egypt. 109. And all the inhabitants of Canaan heard of this thing, and they came and rejoiced much with Jacob that he was still living. 110. Jacob made a feast for them for 3 days, and all the kings of Canaan and nobles of the land ate and drank and rejoiced in the house of Jacob. Thank you, family, for listening. Beautiful history of our family with the Most High. Should bring joy to your heart. I know it does to me and mine. And we will keep going and pick up next one. Book of Jasher, chapter 55. Thank you for listening, family.